Hello everybody, and welcome to my older adult oral video presentation. I have a dear friend of mine who I was privileged to do an interview with her mother, who has played a vital role in my life, um, and has given me a lot of words of wisdom. And I thought that it would be suitable to allow her and to give me a chance to dig deeper into her history and her upbringing, and just to see what kind of life that she lived throughout the 72 years that she's been here so far. So the stage that I went with, in relation to interviewing her and what I thought would best suit her, was generativity versus stagnation. This includes adulthood, uh, investing, as far as investing in family, communities, and future generations, and stagnation, which is mainly dealing with concepts such as being self-absorbed, um, not really being able to uh, be a part or feel as if you are contributing uh, to life right now. Um, as far as being able to kind of give some important experiences um, during the interview, some of the things that were discussed that were important to her uh, was her birth order, um, her relationship with her father, uh, learning, um, and becoming addicted to alcohol due to her father um, being an alcoholic, and that was one of the things that she had observed from watching her father and being attached to him and loving him so much. Alcoholism became a part of her life, and as she grew older and deciding to leave the home, military was somewhat of a way out for her. And going through the military, giving her different options, allowed her to kind of get a start on her life. Um, and through that, she got more involved in church and more focused on her spiritual salvation, and began to seek uh, out more meaning to what life was all about. Then also the death of her husband really impacted her life, being that they were married for 46 years. Um, but after the death of her husband and finding her place in life, she became a mentor in the church to single moms and younger ladies uh, that were struggling in their life, and which kind of transitions into investing. She really uses her life and her time while she's still here to invest in the life of others, making sure that she is doing her part, which makes her feel valued, and as if she's contributing back to her community. Some of the challenges that she faced in her life was, of course, the drinking. The drinking was a big issue simply because um, it was a learned habit from her father. And because she loved her father so dearly, uh, it became a part of who she was, being that it was the only way that she could relate to her father after his passing. And her military experience, it was a good experience. Uh, Um, but it was a challenge for her as well, being that she was no longer in the household and living on her own as an adult, trying to transition and feel her way through life, and to become established as an adult. Then, of course, the other challenge is the death of her husband. Um, Her husband, after she left the military, was pretty much her sole provider. You know, he worked, he provided for the family. He did everything that was necessary as a man to ensure that they were um, well taken care of. But it was the death of her spouse that really shook her world, knowing that she would have to uh, step out of her comfort to do what she was not used to doing. And her health was also a challenge. It was a challenge for her um, in her older years, knowing that things had to be different as far as her eating habits, exercise, just make sure she kept herself on a good routine, and also just building a relationship with other people also contributed to her health. But most importantly, a challenge for her was really finding her place in God, um, connecting to a church that she knew would help her to identify, understand the Bible, and to give her more meaning to the idea of living for God and giving it her best. Some of her accomplishments was having children. She loved her children. She made sure that she did what any parent would do, and that was to give her best. Um, Health and lifestyle was a real big thing for her as well. Being an older adult, wanting to live her life out to the fullest, um, making sure that she did everything that was necessary to be healthy, to be strong, physically and also mentally. Um, Creating a lifestyle that would give her that energy and that zeal to keep pushing and not give up in her old age. She also expressed the excitement of knowing that her house that her and her husband had purchased after his passing, she didn't really know how to function and or to take care of the basic things around the home. So she decided to move out and had thought that she still owed money on the house, but had received a letter in the mail to inform her that the house was actually paid off. And so that was an excitement to her, being that she didn't have any thing to tie her down or to keep her from moving on. And also, uh, accomplishment for her was becoming a mother in the church, being able to relate to younger women, to share her story, her experiences, being able to build them up and to contribute to the younger lives of other people, being that she is 72. It allowed her to feel as if she still has a way to contribute um, to the lives of other people. Some of the psychosocial crises that I chose for my stage in particular uh, was self absorption, denial, and poor relationships. Uh, some of the bios psychosocial factors that facilitated um, the resolution of the crisis um, were inhibited was her race and her age. These two played um, a big factor, being in the time frame that she grew up in, being that race was uh, there was still racial segregation, and so there were a lot of things that she was allowed to do and not allowed to do when pertaining to race. Um, these kind of shaped a lot of her ideologies as she became an older adult, um, transitioning from home to the military, and also being a woman played a factor. Her marriage um, was um, a was a high point in her life. She really enjoyed her husband. She enjoyed having children. But what really shook her world was being married to her husband for so long and losing him, um, and now knowing that in her old age that she would have to do things on her own, even though the children were not in the home. Um, this was one of those vital moments that really shaped her world into having to do something new that she was uncomfortable with. And this particular event pushed her out of her comfort zone and really uh, put her in a place to where she had to really depend on what she learned and what other resources may come into her life. Again, discussing the biopsychosocial factors that shaped her life experiences. Again, the loss of her spouse. She was married for 46 years, and having her husband, and him helping her out and working around the home was really all that she knew. And losing him really, um, really had a huge effect on her dependency, because she depended on him for everything in her life. And when he passed away, she didn't really know what to do. And that created a sense of separation anxiety, um, because now that he was no longer there, there was a gap that had to be filled. And she didn't really know how to fill that gap. And kind of put her in a place to where she had a hard time finding her place in life, what she needed to do from here, what else could she contribute when all that she really knew was taking care of her husband and taking care of her children. And now that her husband is no longer here, it created a gap in her life. Some of the multi-system that facilitated um, some of the resolutions in her life in reference to crisis were her children. Uh, when she lost her husband, her children were much older, already established in life, gave her a sense of security. They played such a vital role in communicating with her, reassuring that she is still important, um, and what she did and what she continues to do matters. Church was another vital thing that played um, a humongous role in her life, giving her a sense of belonging, people who had a common goal in mind as far as um, finding their place in God, having things to relate to as far as struggles, things to overcome, what they did to keep themselves from going into any type of depression or just backing out of life altogether. And she also told me that she joined a older adult group, which kept her active in doing activities, walking, communicating with people that were in her age range. Uh, this kind of gave her also a sense of belonging.